the old power plant.
To bang the gavel. All right. I never get to use the gavel, but tonight I did. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Please call roll.
Baldwin. Cash.
Here.
Caudle.
Here.
Beasley. Here. Littleton.
Here.
Shack.
Here. Okay, we have the minutes of the previous meeting, two different meetings. The first was our regular scheduled work session from May 28th, and then the regular scheduled meeting from June 19th.
Motion.
9th, I'm sorry, I said 19th.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Oh, second.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, please call roll.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Cash.
Yes.
Caudle.
Yes.
Beasley.
Yes.
Littleton.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
All right, we have public comments as our next section. Do we have anyone here for public comments tonight? Anyone? Okay, we'll keep going. My report is next. A few different things to mention. You had department reports in your packets. I made a list of all my things, and Pine Hill Drive is the first thing on my list. We sent out surveys to residents and connecting property owners or people who touch that property of the street or back up to it. I think we ended up sending out 5 or 6 different letters. We've got responses back from 3, I believe, and each one a little bit different. I think one response said they would like it to go from Knapp to Bays. One said from Bays to Knapp, and one said doesn't really matter. They didn't care either way. So we will wait and see, or I mean, we'll get feedback from you all, and we can wait and see if we get the other surveys back. I think just 1 or 2 maybe we need to hear from or send out to. With that, I'll just kind of defer to council what you all would like me to do next. There wasn't, correct me if I'm wrong, Rodney, there wasn't necessarily reasoning for which direction each chose. I think maybe it was just what was, better for that particular home. The person who said that it didn't really matter, they gave a little bit more context and said they didn't necessarily feel like it was needed, but if it was, were they the ones who said if we did it, they would prefer from Bays to Knapp? Okay.
Preferred from Bays, or I'm sorry, from Knapp to Bays.
Mm-hmm.
The other one said, I don't think it'll help anything. I don't care one way or the other. I'm paraphrasing. But if it happens, I would prefer from Bays to Knapp.
Okay. Yes.
And then I didn't hear from anybody else.
Okay. So that's what we have. So how do you all feel?
Is there an inclination that we want to make it one way? Is that?
I think that's the question.
That's probably part of that discussion.
The only question is which direction?
We still have 3 people that haven't responded.
Yeah.
Does that sound right,
One
Tripp?
that actually has an address on that street has not responded.
So logistically, does it make a difference other than personal preference of logistically for health or for ambulances or police or anything? Does it make a difference on traffic flow?
Having lived there, I can say visibility issue coming Knapp up. Mm-hmm. When you get to the crest, typically you are going slower, mm-hmm. and you have the good sense to pull to the right toward the cemetery. If you are coming up Bays to Knapp, it's a straighter shot. Visibility of anybody coming up the other side is virtually zero, which is why people who have good sense pull slightly to the right toward the cemetery. So that's a safety issue. I believe it would also address what Daryl is saying. But visibility up there is an issue, and people driving too fast is the other issue. And I think when you do this, we must put up signs on both sides that say something like, yes. Something very clearly stated, don't go 30 up this hill or down it, you idiot.
So are you suggesting that it would be safer if we did it Knapp to Bays?
I believe it would.
Yeah, I live up there too. I think it would too, because the pull-off is better coming that direction. If you're coming up Bays, the right side of the road is not very conducive to pull off coming up that hill that way. So if you're going to make it to where somebody, I think it would be better the other way.
The feeling from the questionnaires was that nobody really objected to
And that was an option on there
Okay.
as well. Yeah, we gave every scenario. Jenny worded it very nicely for us. So that was also a choice that they had. And we'll have to go back and draft it, either way before it comes back to you all, if
we
that's
wait
what
or
you
make it-
choose to do.
Should we wait on one more
We can.
questionnaire, or can
Certainly,
we just
we
wait and vote on
can,
it tonight?
we can wait, if you want to wait throughout the rest of this week, maybe, because you just never know about the mail too. And then I can, if we get those results, I can email them to you all, or email the response. And if we don't, then
This will take an ordinance, correct?
Everything to put on the.
Yeah, we don't really have an ordinance written up.
and we couldn't get anything done before school started then, could we?
Yeah,
Now, school starts in 2 weeks.
we'd have to,
well, it's the 12th of August,
I mean,
right?
like, university.
University.
I think that's the bigger concern, right? Yeah.
They move-in is on the 12th.
Are there any buses that go across there, Yeah,
I don't know.
Get stuck.
school bus, yeah.
Put them out on the top of the hill.
They would always be sitting it down on that.
Yeah, they don't go up that hill.
Is there more visibility for you headed down one way versus the other?
So I'll describe the other day, I made it up past the bend. When you're from the Knapp side going up, there's the curve. So I made it past the curve, and then here comes a car. Well, once you're past the bend, it's much harder to back down than it is the other way. So I just sat and waited, and finally the person decided to back down because, with where our driveway is, it's a little wider, and that's it. And we always put our signal on that we're going up the hill. The person that was backing about went down, because it's steep on that other side from our driveway down, about went
Oh, no.
over. They were not very adept at backing. But that's part of the problem too.
Yeah.
So it is a lot easier to see going from Knapp to Bays. There's a lot more. And then for us, because we're at the top, we can look both ways.
Yeah.
So we can really see. So that's the better direction for really with traffic. It's the people that are coming from Bays to Knapp is where it ends up being a lot more of.
So there's the solution in that. You just have to stand at the bottom of your driveway.
Have you talked to the third person that we're referring to, maybe?
I sent an email, but they didn't respond, because I think I know which address, was it the 130
The
or?
second one. If you're coming from
Which,
Bays,
if you're coming from Bays, the one on the right or the left?
on the right,
You haven't heard from them?
I'm not.
Okay, we can give them a call.
Is
that the Pierce home?
Be concerned
It was-
about.
across from the Pearson.
Yeah, so I sent them an email just to say that, I'm picking this up again. So I think they're maybe out of the country. So, but I will send another, because the schools, they may be back. I'll send another email.
Okay. I think that would help.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
So, yes.
So after the last meeting, I went and drove it just to see what it was like. Actually, a couple times. Is that a city cemetery? Is it a private cemetery?
I've not been able to actually,
Old cemetery.
yeah, I've not been able, the city does not own it. But I can't tell you who does. I've never been able to quite track that down.
It's so old, I don't think even JD could tell us.
Yeah.
But the city is kind, they do come and
Yeah.
mow and maintain it, which is very nice.
And so it's a cemetery. So one of the things I thought, and somebody mentioned it in the last meeting, why not just cut off both ends and just close it off and make it little spurs coming from either side and close off that road in the middle.
She wouldn't
You
get,
response for that? Because with the new trash issue and where our mailbox is. So the trash truck has to backs up the bay side because there's no way they can back up the nap side. And we can't get the trash can down to bays or nap. And then our mailbox is on the nap side. So if we're blocked from one direction, then that makes it kind of,
And there's really no room for a turnaround up there. I think it was a big issue that we had, yeah.
The cemetery is right against the road on the one side.
Yeah.
and it goes pretty close to our driveway as well. So that's with block shutting it down, that's the issue with that, is that then the trash is on one side, the mail's on the other side. And so the trash, if it's blocked, they can't get up.
I guess my point is just, it's a cemetery, so create some respect for the cemetery and not have a road through it.
One would hope.
Yeah.
It's always been there. Through the
It's
cemetery.
always
It's always
right.
been there.
It's been there since I was on the police department. That goes back to the 70s.
And there's markers that are way older than
Yeah,
that.
it's,
Oh, yeah, I walked that a lot with walking my dog. There's some old graves in there.
so we'll send any additional responses that we get out to council. And then I guess how fast, I still am unsure how you all feel, I guess. So, are you leaning towards certainly making it one way, just unsure of the direction?
Well, I think the nap to the bays is the best option.
I agree.
So you want a fire truck to go all the way over that hill to get to those last two houses?
Ooh.
You don't have to follow the rules.
you guys got your siren. Go.
You got license. Turn your lights on, Jeff.
Turn your lights on.
Don't tell Megan they said that.
It may not be the best thing. That's why I was asking.
Well, either
Right,
way.
so,
See response and stuff, it's not necessarily the best move.
When you're looking at an area that is that old, that road over that hill is very old, that cemetery is very old. Even now, you look at modern planning and the messes we create or don't create. There is no easy solution to that, but as I've said twice in council, and this will be the third time, that does not mean we should not take action.
Yes.
I believe we must take some action on this. If we find out that it's not the right action, we can always undo it. But at least we have made some attempt to deal with the problem that citizens have brought before us. And as far as police and firemen, you all blow those sirens and just go. Wherever you go, people ought to surely to goodness have the sense to move over.
Yeah.
And if not, just,
pretend you didn't hear that too.
What I think the consensus of our discussion and from our citizens is that we need to make it one way. I recommend, there's no motion needed right now, but I recommend that direction be nap to bays.
Okay.
And that the chief or whoever's in charge of fixing some real hell of a sign does that too.
Put something on the road as well. Some shark teeth.
Come on, Ed. I know what you're talking about.
For tires, if they
Painted on.
Paint it on.
And they look like shark teeth, and they're like, watch out, what's ahead?
I thought you meant those things like
No,
pop your tires.
I'm not the ones that pop your tires.
from the community.
Yeah, pending other responses, and then we'll draft an ordinance and bring it back to you all next month.
Thank you all.
Yeah, and unless you do want something before school starts, and if that is the case, we'd have to call 2 special meetings, which we could do. That's just depending on how fast you
What's
all.
our August date for meeting? Regular?
11th.
August.
August
11th, yeah, we still have to
We
do,
could do one reading, special meeting, and then a final reading on the 11th.
we can, yeah, we can do that.
It's gotta go in the paper though.
Yeah, so it won't take effect on the 12th, but after it's published that next week, it would. So you're looking
That
at,
would still be before, like, Morehead starts, right?
Move-in's on the 12th.
Is it?
so it would probably start the day MSU goes back, if they start on that next Monday.
We could maybe get it in the paper that week.
Yeah, they start the next Monday.
Depends.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how fast we can move.
Timing, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, the next thing I did email KLC, and they are going to send me some ideas, I'll call them ideas, of what other cities do for snow removal on sidewalks. So, they have, their general recommendation, which is to not clear them. But they're gonna send me some kind of model ordinances from other places that we can take a look at and then further that discussion as well. We are just starting with a parking study / countywide hotel study. I'm not going to steal your thunder, Jason, because you may be talking about that too. But EDC had the opportunity to talk with the consultants, TSW, last week maybe, or week before last. And they're a very impressive group. And they had a really big team. They came to town. They spent quite a bit of time here going through our community and just looking at different options and getting feedback from different groups. They'll continue getting feedback. So you all will likely get a survey or have a meeting of some sort with them at some point to give feedback as well. But I will say the initial discussions were very impressive. I thought they were very impressive. This is the same group that is also, I won't say, it's almost a study of studies, is kind of how I've coined it. But we have shelves of studies at City Hall and within all the departments, and that happens through time. You acquire many studies. A lot of times grants require you to have a study done, different matching programs, and so you end up with quite a few. So TSW is actually going to kind of consolidate these for us and put together an action plan based on the studies that we have. So we had a meeting with them as well. Very impressed again, and I'm really optimistic, and I think the big driver for me in this is to get some prioritized action items for us that we can say, this is what citizens historically have said and what they have wanted through these studies. And so we'll put all that together to have something to put a big bow on and move forward with. And
Put a
yeah,
bow on an ordinance.
yes, that's right. And to continue with the study concept, EDC is also facilitating, leading the charge on a feasibility study for a YMCA. And I am so excited. I know I mentioned it, I think maybe at the work session or town hall something. But that is getting underway. A consultant was chosen. So we have been, I don't know, cut me off if I say something I'm not supposed to say, Jason, okay? EDC, myself, Judge Clark, we have been in contact with YMCA kind of on the corporate level, but they don't build new facilities anymore. So you can find an existing facility and they can build a branch in your community if that's what they opt to do. And of course, they had their own board. One of the boards, Maysville, is interested. So the next step in getting that type of facility here or piquing their interest is a study is required as well. So we bid that out, and again, and the consultant's name? Ashley Roundtree. And so they are going to get that kick-started, may already have done so. I will say I'm very optimistic. I hope it comes back favorable. But the big draw for me, and this has been an interesting question because I think every person I talk to has a very different answer, but what's the draw for YMCA? Why not just build the City of Morehead Recreation Center, right? That's kind of the question, or County Recreation Center. My answer for that is kind of twofold. One, YMCA it's a namesake. It has notoriety. People are familiar with it, and they're proven to be a very strong facility. But with that, YMCA manages the facility. They provide programming for this facility. They can make up or take over and program areas that we just simply don't have the staff to facilitate, unless you all want to give Matt a lot more money for a lot more staff and program areas, which may be the case too. That may be what this study comes back and reports to us. But I think it's a huge driver because it is almost a tourism piece in itself. People look for YMCAs, they're drawn to YMCAs. So I like that aspect of it a lot. And I have, some faith and confidence in the fact that we're not going to necessarily burden Parks and Recreation with a ton of new things, in some areas versus others. We have asked them to do things in phases. I told them, priority for me is that they incorporate a design or concept for a pool, indoor, outdoor pool, at some point in the project and see the interest in that. I know we expressed, different things that we would like to see them look at, like a rock wall, climbing wall, some things that we don't necessarily have, services we're not duplicating, but also something that's going to appeal to families of the workforce. So people that work for the hospital, for their families to utilize, for anyone that lives here, anyone that drives into town, any type of aspect I think they can accommodate to. So I'm excited and interested and hopeful that it comes back favorable, but you never know. It might not be a good fit, and that's what we're going to pay them to tell us. And anything I left out, Jason has a report, so he'll chime in a minute. So lots of studies, lots of surveys coming your way, and I'll be quiet there. And I'll move on to the quarterly reports with Jason.
Could I say one?
Sure, yeah.
One is, I agree with you on the advantages of a YMCA, and I'm glad that you mentioned programming that's not just cookie cutter programming. That would be my concern, is like, oh, this is what a YMCA is, this is what we're putting here. But we need to draw not just the families of workers, but also the large population of students between the ages of 18 and 24 who tend to stay on campus and give them things that they would like to do off campus to get them back into our community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Okay, I'll let you take it from here.
Council, it's been 6 months. Thank you for having me. Apologize, I missed the April meeting, but I was out of town at a conference, but I'm happy to be back. You should have received my report. I'm not going to hit on every single little piece, but I am going to hit on several items. So we'll start on the front with just some general data. The Chamber for the last 4 or 5 years have really set some good numbers looking for. We've averaged 30 to 35 new members, increasing our footprint each year. And this year we set a record for total number of 41 new members signed on. The bad side of that is we're also still struggling with first-year new businesses, trying to hold on to them. For whatever reasons, they just are struggling in that first year, no matter how much we try to wrap services to them, provide them support, marketing, whatever that looks like. This past year, we lost in the fiscal year 29 members, and 15 of those were new businesses that filed with the Secretary of State in this fiscal year. So, and that would be from July 1 to June 30. So that's an issue. We're still trying to figure out how we better serve, how we better reach, what do they need. And that's a lot of the stuff where if you get deeper into the report where the foundation kind of picks up the education side of things, really kind of trying to help those members gain access to information. Our conferences this year that we've done, we held our workforce conference in March. We held our first leadership roundtable, which was an event that I've been wanting to do for well over a year, is finding a date and being able to get the marketing push to that to really reach. Really good event. The conference was 150 people attended that over 2 days in March. They come from 13 different counties into Morehead. Some stayed in the hotels. They definitely ate in our restaurants. So we look to continue to do that partnership and continue to pull people here. Diving more into our spring, we held our annual golf scramble in June. Large event, largest event that we've ever done was this year. Actually, we tied our largest event with last year. We hosted 21 teams, well over 120 participants on the grounds, whether they were sponsoring or whether they were playing. And so it's just good to be able to see that kind of activity, spending a day together and really networking. So as we get into page 2 of your report's leadership, to just kind of update you, we've got several projects that we've been in the pipeline with, 2 of which is with Parks and Rec in the city. If you've noticed, and I'm sure you have, over by the splash pad, there's a new beach volleyball court that was installed, I think, last year. That project is a direct partnership between the City of Morehead, Parks and Rec, and our leadership team. Recently, I know Matt and the city put some stuff on Facebook about the new pickleball/tennis courts that's been installed. That is also a partnership between Leadership Morehead and the City of Morehead, Parks and Rec. Last year's leadership class, probably the biggest project we've ever tackled, which is the Safe Haven baby boxes. We have worked out all the information that it's going to take to be able to have a contract in place. Contracts have been signed. It will be located out off American Legion Way at the Round County Physical Court EMS offices. We have issued a check to Safe Haven to go ahead and start construction of that box. That will be shipped. It'll arrive here more in about 6 to 7 weeks. Roughly a $16,000 payment that was issued to them. Once it arrives on site, then there will be a partnership with PAX to be able to do the installation that will cover that, to be able to install that and have that available in our community. So for those that don't know what a Safe Haven baby box, and I'm not going to get into all the details of it, but to kind of give you the 30,000 foot view, it's an opportunity to have a safe way when a mother feels that she is overwhelmed, she can no longer take care of maybe a newborn child, to be able to safely and responsibly surrender that child. And immediately upon surrendering it to the box, it notifies our fire, our police, our EMS, which is in just a few minutes. And one of the requirements to this is that it has to be located in a 24-hour, 365 emergency services public building. So this was one of the reasons why we chose that location. It's discreet, and it allows for that to take place if it's ever needed. Hopefully, we never see that need, but in the event that it is, it will be there. We are getting ready to kick off our next class. We have sent out letters to all the participants that are going to be in our next cohort, and we'll announce them coming up real soon to the general public. Diving over into our foundation, this one has been consuming a lot of my time, but it kind of goes hand in glove to a lot of the things the mayor touched about in her quarterly reports, and some of the things that I opened up with as far as businesses and retention is our foundation. We created the foundation in 2023, and we have been slowly building that in order to provide the wraparound services to what a new business, an existing business means, because to just open a business and to not be profitable, not to be sustainable, it's not good in a community. So we want those businesses to make it to year 2, to year 3, to year 10, and so forth. So a lot of those things that we're looking at are the education pieces, how to market your business, the e-commerce side of business, financial management, what the human resource side of things, the business strategy and operations components of what it takes to be a small business owner, the technology and innovation that's all available today, and how are you taking advantage of it. These are all some of the programming that we're going to be bringing in the fall and carrying it into the spring to be able to help small businesses gain access to it local rather than travel to Lexington or Louisville or wherever it may be in order to find those things. So moving on over into community and economic development, to tell you that 2025 has not been a challenge to some degree, I would be lying. It's definitely different today than what it was a year ago. The climate for retail and hospitality has certainly slowed from an investment standpoint. We continue to reach out and work with a lot of different developers, brokers that we have had partnerships with over the last 2 to 3 years. And we're hoping that as we continue forward in 25 and we look to 26, that that climate starts to shift back toward 24 and where we're seeing some things. So we're still having some positive conversations, but investment has certainly slowed. So I did want to let council know that. Housing, we started out in 22 with a housing study that was done by the Economic Development Council, and we identified a lot of issues that we needed to be paying attention to. We do have one development that will be coming out of the ground probably, and I've got in my report August, but it's actually October. And it'll be on the Oakham Prime. It'll probably be approximately 65 units of what I reference as worker housing that will be available. And we're already looking into conversations about a second development to go in there in order to be able to be market rate level top condominium housing. The challenges, difficulty in finding suitable land, just being able to look where you can put these things, what's it going to take to be able to develop in today's price-driven market. I can tell you that there have been significant challenges with this property, not so much in the ground itself, but just in the cost, making the math work. The mayor touched on a YMCA. And so my next bullet point was, critical child care needs. The Gateway Area Development District, in partnership with all the mayors and the judges that make up the ad district, they conducted a child care study. What the data indicated in Round County was for every one opening at a child care center existing, there are 2 children looking to fill that seat. There's just simply not enough. So one of the things, how that dovetailed over to the YMCA, was looking at some of the challenges that Parks and Recs have been experiencing in the post-Laughlin era, being able to figure out what activities, what opportunities are there for both youth, but as well as our seniors, but also from a workforce and economic development perspective. Mayor summed it up very well. The YMCA is a logical sense because it's got branding. It's kind of like the Golden Arches of McDonald's. And so people see those pieces and they want to be a part of it. The areas that we're looking at with Ashley Roundtree, there's 4 areas. The 3 primary areas that we're looking at is the child care needs of this community. We're looking at our seniors. What's it going to take to be offer wellness type programs in addition to what we're already doing? And third would be looking at, and it totally ran right out of my head when I said that. Sorry, it's part of turning 50 this month, you all. The third piece to that would be, and I apologize, that just totally went straight out of my head. The indoor recreational opportunities for youth, and how do we fill some of the gaps that were already being stretched so thin for the Round County Public Schools and the parks and the city have worked so well together to be able to continue those opportunities, but we're limited on available resources and infrastructure. So we're looking at those. The feasibility is not going to answer probably every single question, but it's going to answer the questions whether or not we can sustain it, whether there's enough support to get behind it, what's the driving needs to be able to check those boxes. Is childcare a true driver to it? Is indoor sports a true driver to it? We don't know. So we need to answer those questions. So the way that's going to work is, and this is a partnership, Economic Development Council, the City of Morehead, and Round County Fiscal Court over the first 30 to 45 days will work very closely with this consultant, ironing out some of those pieces, identifying who those folks in the community are that we need to be driving this consultant toward, to really have those interviews, those conversations. And then after that, he or she will be working independently to be able to fact find and then compile a report and submit that report back to the Economic Development Council, the city and the county. So that's our YMCA piece as we look into childcare and community needs. Our strategic initiatives, Mayor touched on this also. We've said for a long time, whether it's coming from the hospital, the university, the community as a whole, lodging is a need. We see it. We suspect that there is high demand there, but we have to quantify that demand. We have to really kind of look and say, what's the market telling us? What's it going to take? What type of project is it going to be? And where's the locations going to be? We don't know those things, so we need to understand the market better. We've identified some key areas. We want to look at downtown. We want to look at the downtown market to kind of identify what opportunities are there, what that risk looks like, as well as the opportunities and risk for the interstate corridors of both 32 and 801, and what opportunities would there be in the tourism sector of Cave Run Lake. We don't know. We suspect that a lot of information will be discovered during that fact-finding stage. But until we can actually drill that down, put a number on it, and actually have some pro forma data to be able to have real conversations with people who do this every single day and kind of say, this is what it's going to take from a capital investment. This is what you should expect from a return. This is the cannibalization rates of what existing markets may feel from a new hotel. And it allows us to be able to have those conversations a little bit more intelligently rather than guessing. So with that, you have my report, and if I've missed anything, I'll be happy to answer any questions that any council member would certainly have.
I have one, and you may not have the answer to this, but you talk about the slowed growth and the fact that first-year businesses often don't make it to a second year. Is that unique to Morehead, or do you know, is that a statewide trend? Is that, do you have any ideas on that?
I do. I actually looked into that. So just the overall slowdown in certain markets of retail and hospitality and those things that I alluded to, we're seeing those pieces happen in a lot of communities our size across the state right now. We're not immune to it. What we are seeing is areas where MSAs of 250,000 people or 500,000 people, your Lexington, Louisville's, Bowling Green's, Northern Kentucky, they're still getting their fair share of it because they have such a population center. But when you get into Morehead, you see a county that's roughly about 25,000 people, and you see a city that's roughly 7,000 people. The challenges are much harder, and the errors are much thinner. So we're considered a secondary market. So when a market has some uncertainties in it, and an investor is looking to either expand his or her franchise, or they're looking to make another market splash with a new investment, they rely on primary markets first because of that population. They know that the money's there. They know the people are there, the rooftops in a community, to be able to support what it's going to take to invest. The second piece to your question was the small businesses not being able to survive in year two. It's not all businesses when you think of a small business, okay? And now a lot of our data that we're seeing, these folks are either sole proprietors or have less than 3 employees. Just for whatever reason, they're not being able to make it in year two. Don't know all those reasons. It would require a lot more conversation with them, but it's certainly something that we have seen each year as we end a fiscal year and we start looking back and start identifying some of those folks. This was the one year that I seen a more uptick in that number. And the only reason why I say it in conjunction to how the market's cooled is just because that's some of the feedback that these folks had. They were small business retailers, and when money got a little tighter, people quit spending as much, and that really hurt those small businesses. So when you hear folks on Main Street or out in the county and they say shop local, take that very, very serious. That is a big deal. These are our people. These are our neighbors, our friends, and we want to support those. When you see Matt over at City Park and you see these small kids and they've got a name across the back that says XYZ business, that business is here. They pay taxes here. They support this community, this city, this county, and we need to do the same to them as much as possible.
I would add a follow-up question to that, and that is that with the anticipated decline in an already relatively underfunded area in many ways, do you think that sort of fear factor of the middle class and the working class losing ground steadily is going to have an impact on your ability to do some of the things that you want to do?
I mean, as far Morehead, I see a pretty vibrant middle class to some degree. I see a lot of people working, and I see a lot of people spending money. So there's still what I call disposable income out there that's happening in our restaurants, that's happening with a lot of our small businesses. So I don't necessarily see that trend. But I can certainly suspect in smaller communities or poorer communities or counties and cities, it becomes, the margin for error comes much thinner. And so those would be issues that would probably affect external to us, but not necessarily us here unless a lot of other things change. But our market is still good, so don't lose that in a gloom and doom, okay? Our market is still good. We're still having a lot of very positive conversations, but activity has slowed compared to previous months and previous years. So we're starting to see that slow down a little bit.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Thank you, Jason. For those businesses that don't make it into the second year, you said it would take a lot more conversations. Are you planning to have those conversations?
We've been having those conversations.
And
that's where we're going with the foundation. Foundation was created simply to support everything that they're telling us, whether it was e-commerce. I go back to COVID. There were 3 different businesses in this community that we helped connect to e-commerce activities that were completely 110% reliant upon a patron walking through their door, paying you at the cash register, and walking back out. But when you don't understand e-commerce, or when you do not understand financial management, whether you're that sole proprietor or whether you're that business owner of you and one other person, it is a lot to digest, especially navigating today's requirement, whether it's sales tax, whether it's permitting, whether all the different requirements that go into it.
so it's more business knowledge of business that you're saying is needed, and it's not necessarily something about Morehead that's causing it.
No, I mean, it's not a black eye on us that we're doing something that we shouldn't be doing. It is just things that, people don't always understand, and they miss things. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to close that gap as much as we can to try to help provide a safety net there a little bit.
Well, thanks for having those conversations.
Piggyback off of Vaughn's question there, the governor released a list of like 37 Kentucky rural hospitals that could possibly close due to the recent budget reconciliation bill in Congress. If that were to happen to St. Clair, if it was, drastically reduced in size, like what kind of economic development impact would that have on this community?
Well, one, we don't want to think about it.
Sure, yeah.
Probably not good.
That feels better, yeah.
But, the Kentucky Hospital Association did release information, and until it takes effect and we start seeing those things, it's hard to speculate.
Yeah.
But to just put into perspective, St. Clair is a huge employer, the largest employer in this community. And they provide an immense amount of tax revenue to both the city and county that support all of our emergency services, whether it's police, fire, whatever that might look like. To cut that in half for whatever reason, however you want to paint that, or even drop it by a third, would be very damaging to this community. And so we're going to hope for the best in this, and we'll look for sunnier days out of it, is the best way to put it. Good question. It's just until something is happening, it's hard to really answer that.
And they count on that. And the last time this happened, Mitch McConnell came here under the cover of darkness and cut a deal to stop it. I'm sure you remember that. It was scary. It was very scary, and we all have to pay attention to the fact that part of what happens is it happens fast so that we don't have time to prepare. And that's why last month and the month before I have said we need to be in contact with the hospital. We need to do some long-range questioning. Hoping is not enough in this climate. I mean, I appreciate that, and we must hope. But right now, hope is not enough to sustain us.
And it would be, I mean, citywide,
Devastating.
have a $6 million loss in our occupational tax revenue.
To say nothing what it does to the human element of it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We all need each other.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I did have, Mr. Lloyd did tell me, just an informal conversation, that they are committed to their mission and they're going to do what they can to keep the mission going.
I mean,
Billy
They can.
Medicare.
we have battles.
They do an amazing job.
Yes.
They do an amazing job, and they have for 60-plus years in this community. And, you know, it's hard to wrap your mind around just what all they do. And we're very blessed and fortunate to have St. Clair in this community.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Jason.
Jason.
We are going to keep moving now and go into Rodney's report for projects for the city.
You saw about my projects report, kind of the bulk of what was going on this month is the first half of the annual ABC licensing. To explain that a little bit, state has 2 dates where every single alcohol license in our county anyway expires. So we have June 30th and August 30th. So get a month to catch back up with everything else, and it's right back at it again. Daryl's helped me do that before. Trip's been indispensable. It's a big deal. It's a huge time sink. The apartments at Triplet Street, which is one of the biggest projects that we've had, is coming to a head. They're finishing up the inside. I think the floors are down on most of them. The walls are painted. Cabinets are in. They've got their parking lot sinkhole mitigated at this point. Express Oil is about in the same shape. They're finishing up their interior and got their parking lot in. They're coming along. But a really good presentation. Brian Stores and Bob Hawley from Sustainable Streams came to City Hall a couple of weeks ago and gave a presentation on their Bob's study, which used both his data and a Corps of Engineers study that the city paid for back in 2017. I was going to thank Beth, but she left. And gave a pretty nice presentation on our green sinks ideas, what each sink itself would mean in terms of flooding, both on a technical level, and you give a really good representation of what it would look like, say, for instance, at the conference center. We've got X amount of flooding, and we did all these things. It's about a foot. So that was pretty eye-opening for me. So I probably geek out on it more than most people. I went to Lexington last week and was one of the keynote speakers at the Kentucky Stormwater Association presentation. We did that on green sinks, about not just ours, but what they are in general, and, you know, opened some eyes. Because the green sinks were kind of born here in Morehead. So a lot of people see it for the first time. Might bring, if you'd like to see it, I can bring that presentation to council next month and show you kind of an overview of it. We had a couple of zone changes in the packet. I might be going out of order. I don't remember what the packet was like. We had a couple of zone changes. One at Robert Hollow, maybe an eighth of a mile from the first house. Someone wishes to change the lot designation from public to residential. Planning Commission recommended to make that change. And then the same thing on our lot that the city bought to build a new fire station. The front half of the lot is business and the back half is residential. It's one owner, so it shouldn't have necessarily been that way. But that was a kind of another zone change correction that Planning Commission recommended to you guys to approve. We've made a lot of progress on the blighted property ordinance. I'm paraphrasing there. That's not really what's called, but council has given our code enforcement board the authority to name and mitigate some of our blighted or deteriorated properties here in town. We have around 10 or 11 properties that are on the list. We've already made a ton of headway. There's a lot of people that are already cleaning their stuff up. One house is scheduled to be demolished. So the finding of facts about those properties is kind of our report to council, which is what's required to do with the ordinance. Tripp, you got anything to add to that? Tripp's been really instrumental in the nuts and bolts of this thing.
Just really happy with the improvement of the properties we identified already.
Quickly.
Yeah. Within a month and a half, they really kind of came together and started working on it. So.
Yeah. Feels like we've done more in 30 days than we have in 30 years.
Yeah, thank you for your work on that. And you might mention that these are all, no one is living in any of them.
Abandoned. Eventually we hope to be able to get to defining blighted properties as even some that where they are occupied. The hope of is that we can get these properties fixed up and usable, not that we can take them and tear them down and have an empty lot. That's not the hope at all. That might be the outcome of some of it, who knows? But I'm sure we're going to have a lot of highs and lows and weaving in and out of possibilities, but that's what we want to do. I think it's good.
I think, quick question, and it's situational, and I believe that the property is not in the city limits. I think it's just outside the city limits. And it's on Gregory, if you're at that intersection there's a gas station, and then Gregory Court is right behind it, and it's a house. I think Walter Blevins owns it.
It's in the city.
It's got a new roof.
It's a hideous place.
It's better today than it was last week.
Yeah.
I haven't been over there.
Windows in it right now. He's got new doors on the schedule.
New roof?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
moving fast.
it's getting better. If you have to
Hallelujah.
this week,
Yeah.
I drove around all your places that you had on the list, and
It's on that list.
almost all but
Okay.
two of the houses, people are
Good.
doing stuff.
Yeah. Fines speak.
Yeah.
They do.
We didn't have to send a whole lot out. I think three sets of fines out of 10. So 7 of them contacted and said, "Hey, what do I need to do to not get fined?" And me and the commission and Rodney, we gave them a list basically of what they had to do to make progress, and we'd hold the fines off, and they responded. So I'm happy with it.
Great. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So thanks for helping fund a full-time code enforcement officer under administration. I appreciate that.
So do we.
Okay, any other questions for Rodney? Okay, we will move into general business. We had no unfinished business. Under new business, the first is two different resolutions. The first to approve an annual agreement for fiscal year ending 2026 with Advice Media LLC.
Motion.
Second?
This is just as a reminder, this is our contract for digital marketing on the screens that, I don't even know how many there are now, there's a lot, in your local businesses throughout the community that we put announcements on. I believe some are in the school system now as well, but they also put our events, signups, parking information, road closures, a little bit of everything. So that's the behind that one. I think we need to vote on them individually. So that'll be your first one. Are there questions? Okay, please call roll.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Cash,
Yes.
Caudle,
Yes.
Beasley,
Yes.
Littleton,
Yes.
Check.
Yes.
The second one is for Round County Animal Control. We do have a current contract. This is just kind of an updated one. It's a good one. It's a relief. The county is going to continue to do animal control as once before, and so this will be kind of just putting it in writing now that if someone has vicious, or if there is an abandoned dog, not cats, within city limits, the Round County Animal Shelter can come in and pick up that animal and take it back to the shelter there, and also any animals that are acquired in any police or fire incidents as well. So they'll be stored or situated or made a nice home out at the Animal County Shelter.
I just have one question on that that was brought up to me. In the agreement, it mentions that the city is responsible for the euthanasia of
Exactly.
the decision of the dog. Who's going to be making that?
So the shelter is a no-kill shelter. So that language is in there because, so we pay, per day for these animals. So if we decide we don't want to pay, then I would bring that to you all and say, do you want to keep paying or not? And if not, that's fine. I would imagine that would be the consensus. But the county put that language in there because they want to be sure that it's recognized that they will not be euthanizing animals picked up in the city. Yeah.
County's not going to do it. The city wants to.
Yeah.
The city does that. So
And they would have to, we're not going to go down that road. Unless you all say you want to, but it couldn't even be done at the shelter if you all chose to.
It can't.
No, they'd have to be taken
A vet.
to a vet somewhere. Yeah. Now, if a dog is picked up and is in there for a year or so, I might say,
I'll make the motion. Don't worry about
let's
it.
look at the budget and we might need to add some money into animal control for our fee, or we might have an adoption drive somewhere. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But
What about, so it's kind of similar to what it was before.
yeah.
There was a situation on my street a few months ago where it was an abandoned dog, but it showed up at my neighbor's house.
So
Motion to talk about it, don't we?
yeah, we make a motion.
And Beth.
Sorry. Yep. Okay.
We did, yeah.
well, now we can discuss.
That situation caught the attention of some local leaders, and so this contract came from that.
Okay. Good. So that would be an
Yes.
abandoned dog.
Yes.
I was worried about the definition of abandoned.
Yeah, abandoned, stray, can't find an owner. Now, and it's not just for us, it's the shelter as a whole. They're not taking self-surrender.
Right, that's what, yeah.
Things like that.
All right, that answers. Thank you.
Yep.
So do we have a motion on the floor?
Yeah, me and Beth did.
Oh, okay.
We do now.
I forgot what it was.
Oh,
Any other questions?
I'm so happy that we're working together on this.
Me too. Me too, me too. All right, please call roll.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Cash.
Yes.
Caudle,
yes.
Beasley,
Yes.
Littleton,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
The second item is the first reading of an ordinance amending the City of Morehead, Kentucky Code of Ordinances, Chapter 51, 51.06, Water Shortage Advisories, Alerts, and Emergencies.
So moved.
Seconded.
Questions, comments?
Just a quick, like what kind of alert would we be?
I'm gonna turn it over to Holly.
Holly,
I'm
please.
gonna let her take this.
Question to ask. So, a water shortage plan was mandated back in 1996 to address drought conditions. It's what the state mandated as well as the Public Service Commission. So each utility has to have a drought plan where in the event, we're in a severe drought. What it doesn't address is emergencies. So water emergencies such as you had 100,000 gallons of petroleum spill into Cave Run Lake. That's our water source. What do we do? How do we start advising this? If a flood took out a line, if lightning struck the intake and it exploded, all these emergency type situations, it was not actually addressed anywhere in anything before. So what this is also including emergency situations. So the different phases that are on there, it can be from a multitude of things. It can be if there is an actual emergency that we have to deal with, or if the state comes down and declares a state of an emergency, we have it in place on how we would respond to it. I don't know if that makes.
Well, would it be like a text message or something, or like a letter?
No, so the way it's written in here is, in the event something happened, obviously I would act on emergency, and then I would get the board to vote on which phase that we're in. Based off of the information that I bring the board, I'll say we're in 1, or we're in a 3, we're in an emergency where we have to go out and we have to get the message out that we have to contact industries and make sure that they're conserving water. I would have to contact Bath and Roundwater, who we sell water to, because in their contracts there are provisions for emergency situations like that, just as there are in industrial permits that I have with all the industries that we permit and regulate.
I was thinking like a boil water advisory on the radio or something.
Yeah, it would be something like
Okay.
that. It would be something like that. It would be an announcement. It would be on Facebook. We would obviously put it in a public forum.
Can that be done through this 911 system where we send out to certain areas if possible? Like, if you had an oil spill in Cave Run Lake, I'd kind of like to know about that.
Emergency management has a program like that.
Jared Moore.
No, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Is that used or would be used?
Yeah, it is. It's used quite a bit on certain things, but
So this is just incorporating those emergency situations, because when you say a water shortage plan, it doesn't encompass everything if it's just tailored to drought. So this just encompasses emergencies that could arise and how we would react and what would be recommended in those situations.
Thanks.
And the 3 levels are advisory, alert, and emergency, and those are all tripped by different criteria.
Different criteria.
DEFCON 3.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Please call roll.
Baldwin,
Sorry, excuse me.
Said yes.
Cash,
A witness.
Caudle,
Yes.
Beasley,
Yes.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 3 is the first reading of an ordinance amending the zoning map of the City of Morehead to reclassify the property located at 860 Rodburn Hollow Road from P1 to R1.
Motion.
Second.
This is one of the areas Ronnie was referring to in his report as well.
It's adjacent to the same kind of zoning, which is across the street.
That's right.
Any questions? Okay, please call roll.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Cash,
Yes.
Caudle,
Yes.
Paisley,
Yes,
Littleton,
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 4 is the first reading of an ordinance amending the zoning map of the city of Morehead to reclassify the property located at 523 Main Street and 529 Main Street.
Second.
Questions, discussion?
Just that I asked Rodney if the people who came to the public hearing were satisfied with the decision, and he said they were okay, as far as we know.
They came to protest. They were heard.
Yeah.
Planning commissions, thought that I assume that the planning commission thought that the benefits outweighed the cons, the needs of the many, and problems that it creates for a smaller number. And they voted, to make the recommendation to change it. So,
Yeah.
and then nothing else was said after that. So I'm sure they didn't leave like completely tickled.
Tickled, oh, right. It's some of the things that, like the fire trucks are gonna not have to be backing in, so they're not gonna be beeping. And they're gonna be, when they run their sirens, they're going out the front side on Main Street. So that'll be less disturbance to those people on,
I mean, it's a pretty deep lot. And
Yes, very deep.
And those houses have a pretty good sized backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So the sirens will be pointing away from Sun Street. And it's a pretty good distance from Main to Sun.
yeah. Now we just gotta take care of the helicopters go over my head.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing to say, somebody did say, hey, the helicopter goes over your head all the time. You can't stop that. So I think,
I'm just glad that you all take it seriously to listen to the public and,
it's,
yeah.
it's very serious.
Yeah.
And if the sirens are going off, it's a pretty serious matter as well.
Right.
Okay, please call roll.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Cash.
Yes.
Caudle,
Yes.
Paisley,
yes,
Littleton,
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Thank you. Under other city business, we do have a reason for executive session, if someone would like to make that motion.
Can I make one statement before we go to that? Yeah, I meant to, back when we were talking about the department reports, I was going to thank Matt for getting the pickle and tennis courts done, but also that he has brought in sponsorships 3 times what we budgeted for. And just want to thank you for that.
Wow.
nicely done.
I had a couple things too before we do that. The alley, like near Paul Bishop's property, like in Tolliver Edition.
Yeah.
Did we get anything figured out on that, or?
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I kind of have a question. So when I was first approached about it, Paul said, he's willing to pay survey work to get that done, but he meant where it touched his property after kind of digging down and questioning him about it. So I did have a ballpark estimate done on what it's going to take if we want to close that alley, and we all agree that it has to be surveyed. I don't know any other way to do it. I mean, how do you mark points and say what you're closing and who gets what unless it's surveyed? It's going to run somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000.
Oh, my goodness.
And it touches several properties.
It's touching a lot of properties. Obviously, it's ballpark could be less.
If I recall, you was going to check.
So, I mean, since you asked,
If I recall, you hadn't heard from all the landowners yet.
well, I didn't approach the landowners yet because
Okay.
why approach them
If we're not going
if
to
we're
do it.
not
Well, to pay that money.
going to pay that much? That's right.
Unless they want to pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just followed up on some notes.
What his concern
tell the mayor to tell me what to do.
was to be able to clean it up, not to use it for anything, but to clean up the rubbish.
I'm a little bit, I'm not sure exactly. He'd get a little bit more land that he's probably already using anyway, but, a property line disputes, maybe being able to fence it off to keep somebody else out of that.
Did we get the bids for the landscaping stuff? All that's figured out.
Yeah.
Thought I'd move on.
No, I'm not gonna let you out.
What about the overpass? We're gonna get some bids on that. Have any luck there?
Complicated than,
Well, we're not going to pressure wash it. We did get some quotes. Or did we get one back?
I did get a quote.
Had someone-
Kind of left and
Yeah.
said, I can't do that.
Oh, gosh.
Scared of it.
Oh, man.
The part we thought was the easiest is the hardest.
Is the hardest, yeah. And
Which part?
the
Physical cleaning.
It's easier to do what's over the road than it is to do what's not over the road because there's limited area to work from. It's so high, it's not level. How do you set up, how do you put a guy up there with a pressure washer?
Yeah.
But I will say, we did have conversations with the state, and if or when we do this, they are gonna provide some signage and.
Yeah. That's what I would think would be the
Yes.
most difficult part.
Their blessing.
We have their blessing, and I did say we would need it in writing, because, but between the two of you, I thought we probably should get that,
Still learning that
for
one.
survival
Have you looked
purposes.
at what the plant board does? Because don't they hire someone to pressure wash and repaint those water containers each year? Or
I don't know. We can ask Holly that. I do know that the chemical product that they thought we could just maybe spray on will not work either. So we're still trying.
Appreciate that, yeah.
We're still trying.
And one thing for Matt, we did get a report, how's it coming along on the day camp and the people that were going to start that in July?
We reached back out to them and they said that they would love the opportunity, but they would love a year to plan.
Okay.
Wow.
So that is where we are because of risk and because of budgetary reasons. They said they just need time to crunch numbers and figure out insurance. Insurance is the biggest issue. But we have two people that are interested.
Did you have something else, Lincoln?
I move that we go into executive closed session
Okay.
per KRS 618101C, which allows for discussions of proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of agents.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Hey.
I'm gonna have us stay.